Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing very well, Juan. How are you?
Well, you know what, Jorge? I am so excited that we're back on this again this week. We tried it for the first time last week, and I
Mhm.
was a little nervous. Not gonna lie, I'm like, okay, is this gonna be a one and done, or are we gonna come back and do it again? So I am happy that we're back here again. Welcome, everybody. We have a
Yes.
nice prep chat today and a very special guest. Jorge, take it away. What we got today?
So today we have Carly Spina. We will continue working on our topic about advocacy, but she will be focusing also on how we can work with families, parents and families. So we will be that in a minute. So Juan,
And for
also,
everyone who's go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
no, yeah, I was just gonna just to tell you. So let's just do a little bit in introductions ourselves, and then just kick the show.
All right. All right. So, for everyone who's here with us, welcome. You can find us on Twitter, Jorge and I, and Carly is in Twitter too.
Mhm.
And we're just going to get started because we are live and we are unscripted, as you can tell. We're learning. This is new to us and we're excited, but we'll take it as it comes. So, Carly, how are you?
I'm good. I am so excited to be joining you both. I am just thrilled that we have a place, a time and space to talk dual language education. This is so fantastic. So glad that you guys are doing this. I think educators are so hungry for this. So I'm so glad you guys are doing this.
No, thank you for being with us tonight,
You know,
and I hope that you can just share a lot of your experiences with us tonight, and also with all the people that are watching us. So thank you for being here.
Of course. I'm so excited.
so so one of the things that we were talking about when we prepare for the show, we said let's do a quick icebreaker, just because we're gonna have multiple guests that are gonna come into the show, and we want to learn from you. We want to get to know you, and we want any of our viewers who might be watching us tonight or is gonna stay recorded on Twitter, who may come back and watch it at a later time, to get to know us, to get to know our guests. So let's do a quick warm up question. How about that? And I thought, what if you guys would be in a reality show? What type of reality show would you be?
Oh, goodness.
You go, Jorge. You go first, Jorge. Let's model the way.
Yes. So I will probably be like in what, one of this like Big Brothers kind of show. One of those, real life in terms of what do you do every day, and try to be in
Mm.
this maybe stupid drama. And I will just make up stories along the way just because I'm in the show and things like that. I don't know, something like that.
So like a Big Brother show where people watch you for the drama. All right.
Yeah,
Okay. I
exactly.
can
All
see.
about the drama, like a telenovela. Yeah.
What about you, Carly?
Oh goodness, this is a hard question. And I have a love-hate relationship with reality shows, but it's also like such a guilty pleasure
Mm.
to watch these shows. But I'm trying to think. The one thing that came to mind right away is like those survivor shows. That would not be me. I would have to
Mm.
be
Yeah.
on the
No.
other end of like how not to do this, like how not to survive in the wilderness. I think that would be kind of my speed.
Well,
Yeah,
you
that's
guys, you
actually a good
guys'
one.
show sounds really fun. I would definitely watch a show for the drama and to see, if you survive, I'll definitely watch that. My show will probably be a lot more boring. I was thinking, like, one of the things that I started doing, I picking up a habit of my pandemic habit has been cooking with my wife. We started, we subscribed to one of those meal plans, that they send you all the ingredients and then you have to cook everything. And we've been doing that since the beginning of the year. So it's been cool. And I kind of want to do something like that, where maybe, I don't know, I just love food too much. Maybe that's it.
I love that. I would totally tune in for that.
That is a good one too. Yep. Juan is good with tacos. I will have to say that. He makes really good tacos. Yeah.
That's right. That is true. That is true. That is true. And I'll eat them too. All right. Well, enough with the warm up. Let's get talking about dual language and advocacy, because everyone who's watching us, we're so passionate. We want to talk. We want to learn. That's the purpose of our show. Dual Language Spot. As we mentioned last week, we're not the experts. We are just learners. We're trying to learn. We're trying to unpack different ideas regarding dual language. And what a better way to do it with colleagues that are equally as passionate as us, and put ourselves in the hot seats and be live and talk about it. You guys game?
Game. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So, Carly, last week we talked about advocacy, and we said, depending on our role, we can unpack that concept from different perspectives. Thank you so much for being here. Share with us, what does advocacy mean to you?
I think advocacy for me is twofold. It's knowing who you serve. So in a school ecosystem, there's so many different stakeholders, right? Number one is the students. It's always about the kids. Number two is the families, because we can't say that we're student-centered if we don't also serve and support families. But then we also have our teammates, our colleagues, our leaders, right? Our central office leaders, our community members. So all of those different, folks that we serve, we have to know them, number one. And then number two is the fight, la lucha, right? It's knowing what needs there are that exist, and then making that attack plan. How are we going to fill the needs? How are we going to support the best way we can? How are we going to use our positions, our roles, our privileges, so that we can better serve and fight and meet the needs that exist?
Right. I think last week we did talk about advocacy from the perspective of the professional setting, right? And how we try to educate our colleagues, central office, and things like that. But also, how do we do that with the families? How we could better serve our families, and how that different from educating our colleagues. How's that different?
So I think, again, kind of going back to that idea, we have to know the families that we serve. I think many times, especially in so I serve in the Chicagoland suburbs. So we're all kind of in this general region. So we have a lot of linguistic diversity in our communities. They make up our student population, our family population. But if we go into the classrooms and into the principal's office, there's a lot of blonde folks. There's a lot of folks who are monolingual. There's a lot, you know what I mean? There's a lot of monocultural folks that all kind of look the same, and we don't match the diversity of those that we serve. And so it's doubly important for us to learn and just listen and connect in meaningful ways. If we can connect with the families that we serve and just get to know them and their passions and their families and their things that light them up, things that are important to them, and we have great conversations with them, then we can serve as better connectors, better advocates, because we'll know them. I think so many times we get around the table in school functions and school meetings, staff meetings, and we start to make decisions on behalf of people who aren't there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I've done that many times, and it was like such a good learning experience for me. Like, Carly, you don't have all the answers. Ask the people you serve. They know what they're talking about. They have all of these ideas of what the school can do, what the classrooms can do to better support. So I need to be connecting more with them and tapping in more to what they're seeing, what they're experiencing.
Right.
I
can
love
actually,
the way you frame it, Carly.
Yes. Go ahead. Yeah. One.
Sorry, I was gonna say that I really 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 love the way you frame it, and I'm gonna steal the lucha, right? Because I think that we may not think advocacy as needing to go fight, right? But talking dual language here, when we use the phrase la lucha, that doesn't mean that we're going to fight, but what it means is that we are so ready to go advocate and do whatever it takes to make sure that we're supporting our families, we're supporting our kids, we're supporting the community, and we're ready to go to battle, right? In Espanol, la lucha sounds really, really cool. And the other thing that you mentioned about listening to our families, I like that, because I think that when we do a lot of talking, we're not doing a lot of listening. And when we don't listen, we don't learn. So thank you for sharing that. I really, really like that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that when you were talking, I also make a connection because this weekend, and it's the part of knowing the culture and the people that we serve, right? And so this weekend, my kids wanted to watch the movie In the Heights. So, and it was, of course, two of my three kids, they are in dual language, and they're passionate about knowing the cultures and things like that. But now my oldest, who is not in dual language, the best part of the movie actually came today when he said, "I want to get some books in Spanish because I'm half Puerto Rican and I need to know Spanish. There's no excuse for that." And I'm like, "Wow!" Like
Nice.
it was super nice to see that, and I think he's starting to see the value of that, and it just again, it just also knowing our community, and now he's advocating for himself. That he also wants to want to learn more about the cultures, want to know more about the language, and he can also feel the pressure from his brothers too.
Yes. Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head for this idea of representation. He sees himself in the characters of the production, and so that lit him up inside to be able to see. Like we always talk in my house. Like my mom growing up was a youth pastor, and she would take me and my sisters down like the toy aisle, like of the stores, and we would go down the toy aisles, and she'd do it every time. And she'd say, "Okay, girls, count the Barbies."
Mm. Yeah.
And we would count the Barbies, and we'd say, "Okay, yep, there's this many Barbies that are on the shelf." And then she'd say, "How many look like you?" And we'd count them all up. Yep, most of them look like us. And then she'd say, "How many of them look like your friends? And how many look like your neighbors? And how many look like your classmates?" And she'd run us down the list. And we would have good conversations when we would roll our eyes too. I'm not going to lie. We were little kids. We were like, we just want to go home. But reflecting back on these conversations, she was trying to get us to be aware of how overrepresented we were in the aisles, in the movies, in the books we read, all of those things. And now as an adult, I see that in the students and the family's perspective too. Like the curriculum we use, the books we watch, or the books we read in classrooms, like we need to beef up our representation here.
Yes. So I'm seeing some technical difficulties on my end, guys. But I'm hearing what you guys are saying, and I agree 100%. I think, you know, when I think about our community and I think about our families, and it is true, they may not see themselves represented in the store, in the TV shows, and I think that kind of has an impact in their perception about how they fit in a community. How do they fit in even in our school community? And in terms of dual language, we always tried. I feel, you know, that we always try to help our families understand the services that we are going to provide them. And I think that, at least in my experience, you have I think the families kind of fall within three different categories, right? You have the families or the parents who go, "Lo que usted diga, maestro." Oh, if you say so, just do it. If you say that I need to be in that program, dual language, bilingual, yes sir, whatever it is, if you say so, go. I trust you. And that's it, right? That's the extent of what they understand. And then you have the other families who may be a little bit more hesitant and maybe may question a little bit more about, okay, why does my kid need to be identified as an English learner? Why does my kid need to be in dual language? Is that going to impact them learning English? Are we gonna, how is it going to work, right? So they kind of question all of that. And then you have the other parents who are like, nope, I don't want dual language. Even our own families. Why do you guys think that is? Why do some families may be hesitant about enrolling their kids in dual language, even when their kids are perfect candidates for a dual language program?
I think it comes from a lot of different things, and I wonder too, because I've seen all those different types of scenarios you just laid out, Juan. And as I think about the families who are really resistant, I think that can come from a few different avenues. I think perhaps it could be because of the linguistic oppression that is just rampant in communities that we serve right now. I know the political climate has been, fluctuating in terms of even anti-immigrant sentiment, of like, oh, why should I have to push one for English? And I'm offended over that. So you do have a lot of that kind of, out there in the world. And parents don't want their kids to be, criticized for that. And so I think there's a sense of protection. And then the second thing, I think there's a lot of misinformation about dual language programming in the world. And it's so different from school district to school district. Some have a transitional bilingual program. And then some have a one-way dual language program, and some have a two-way dual language program, and some just have English learner services. So it looks very different from school to school. And if a parent was in a program like that as a child, they might have a whole different set of background knowledge and experience that is going to influence their decision. Or maybe a family member, like
that is true.
My current sobrinos are going through the school system right now, and they are Latinos. And so they're trying to navigate, decision-making of dual language versus EL versus nothing. So we've had a lot of good conversations about that. But yeah, I think there is a lot of maybe perhaps traumas that families have experienced in schools around those programming opportunities too. So it's unfortunate, but again, I think it creates good opportunities for conversation and dialogue with families, so that we can kind of unpack, the nerves, the hesitancy, and offer a little bit more of some reassurance about what the program truly is and how it will benefit their kids.
Right. I think,
and I like that you mentioned.
Yeah. I was just going to say, that I like it when you were talking about the language oppression, because when a few years ago when we started the program, Juan and I, and we were working together in the building, Juan in central office and so on. And I did see a lot of that, a lot of parents coming to me, nope, I want my kid out of the program. And I just need to have the conversations of, hold on, let me hear you first, why you want him out or her out of the program. And then let me explain what the program is. Because normally it was just that. It was, I don't want them to go through the same issues I went through. You know, I just want them in regular English, and that's it. I don't want them to suffer that. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. I was, so you were talking, and I'm just remember me in my office with the parents explaining to them the goal of the program. Please just, this is what is best for the kids. And later on, they see the result. They see that actually it's a different program. But I agree with you. It's also that misinformation as well. And we do need to do a better job, because in every district, the programs look a lot different and the services are completely different too.
Yeah, and I was gonna say something that you said, Carly, trigger a memory in me, because I went through transitional bilingual myself, and I remember my parents. They have this joke, you know, an inside joke in the family where they would say things like, pues no habla inglés, tiene que aprender inglés para que le paguen mejor, right? So they will say it kind of like joking around, like, oh, well, go learn English so that you can make a better living, or you can get paid better. And now that you mention about like their own experiences and the linguistic oppression, in a way, that is also a form of linguistic oppression, whether intentionally or unintentionally, from my parents, because they're like, you know what, English, you're going to do better. You're going to have better opportunities if you know English. And that might come at the expense of maintaining my language, right? And I'm glad I didn't listen to that. I'm glad that I went into do language education, but I do see that a lot of families probably feel like that too.
Yes. And especially, like I said, as the political climate just fluctuates, right? Oh, can you hear me okay? Am I frozen?
Yeah,
we can hear you. You're coming in through.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me try doing this. Is that better, maybe? But yes, I think as the political climate fluctuates, it's so important that we set up structures to check and recheck the culture and climate of how we elevate languages in our schools, and then outside of the school too, like at the grocery store, at the library, at our food pantries, at our police department, fire department. How are we like all coming together and elevating the status of all languages in the community? I think that's a big piece too.
So let me ask you this. So then how will schools be different if all the school leaders advocate intentionally with our families and parents for dual language education? What do you think? What is your vision? What do you think?
I love the way that you use the word intentionally advocate. Like, it has to be a journey. There has to be like some, mile markers, some indicators of success along the way. We have to acknowledge that anytime we're trying to change a system, it truly takes like 5 to 7 years to truly have deep-rooted change. And so we have to kind of acknowledge that, like, it is a journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But I think that when we can kind of sit down and break down all the barriers that we have had historically for families, break down the barrier of transportation to family events at the school and parent-teacher conferences, like provide transportation, provide childcare, provide language access through interpreters if needed. Make sure the invitations and information are available in multiple
In both
languages.
languages. Yeah.
All of those different like pieces that we can kind of just break down, it kind of paves the way for more opportunities to collaborate. I think during the pandemic, we had some good silver lining moments, like having virtual parent-teacher conferences. It made it so much easier for many families who don't have reliable transportation or don't have childcare, available to them. I think that was like a good aha moment of, wow, this is a good practice we can take moving forward. But if we can, again, recognize that it takes time and like really be systematic in how we're breaking down barriers that have existed, and just having ongoing communication, I think we can really, really change the trajectory, change the image almost of dual language programming in our schools, because our parents are going to be like, wow, I get it. I see what this is. The teachers love me. The principals love me. They want to work with me. They're elevating my not only my child, but my family, because they're honoring our culture. They're honoring our language, and they're lifting all of us up. I think that's kind of those moments where we can say, yeah, like we're on the right track.
And it's on us to advocate for all those things for our families when we are in the school district. Absolutely, I agree.
And I think intentionally is the word, right? Because I think that we mentioned this last week, that I believe that all educators have the best of intentions, and they want what's best for their kids. They want to learn in order to serve kids and families better. But all of us have some blind spots, right? And it kind of goes back to what you mentioned at the beginning, Carly, of learning, listening to our families, listening to their perspective, trying to understand where they come from. I always say, reach into their world first before we can pull them into our world, because whenever they feel that their value, that people are invested and are interested in learning about them, and that they're there to serve them and work for them, then they're more likely to say, whenever they go into the principal's office, like Jorge was mentioning, right, where they might be wondering, is this the right program for my kid? If they know and they feel it down in their heart that, you know what, we care, we believe in you, we want you to be successful, we want you to kick butt, they're more likely to say, I trust you, even for those hesitant parents,
Absolutely. That trust is so paramount. And like you said, Juan, like those are the feelings. Like if we can relay the feeling, like we are on your side, like we are here to celebrate your child, we're here to support your child and support you as the family, then once we have that trust established, wow, we can really move mountains together.
We are going to, guys. We are going to, as long as we continue to working together and we continue to advocating for families and learning, we are going to, we're going to kick butt too, and
la lucha
in our families. En la lucha, that's right. That's right. So, Carly, we are reaching out the end of our show today. We're trying to keep it under 30 minutes. And as you guys can see, right, anybody who's joining us either live or is going to come join us later today and watch the recorded session, we're learning. This is new to us. We really don't have any idea of what we're doing. We're trying to make it up as we go, and we're trying to improve every week. So, Jorge, wrap us up. What do we got?
So a few things. So for next week, please continue joining us every Tuesday. Okay, at 7:30. We're gonna be here next week. We're gonna have Amy Mosquera, and we're gonna be talking about curriculum instruction. So basically, how does a curriculum instruction model look like in an effective dual language program? Okay, so that will be very interesting if you're wanting to learn more about dual language and the curriculum, and also ideas and things that you can do in your classroom or in your school. Then on the 29th, we also will have Cristal Jimenez talking about MTSS in the dual language program and how that works as well. So those are the 2 upcoming meetings that we have at 7:30 every Tuesday. Well, not every
Central
Tuesday, but at
Time.
least Central Time. Yes.
Central Time.
Yeah.
And Carly, if you could leave us with some drops of knowledge, some tips, and for our viewers too, if you could just kind of summarize and maybe tell us some practical things, that school leaders, whether they're teachers, administrators, anybody who's a school leader in a school, regardless of the role, that they could do to be better advocates when working with our families, what would you tell us?
Okay, so the few things, I'm going to try to be as succinct as possible. But number one, I would say, just like we've been saying this whole time, we have to listen. We can learn best by listening because, for me, I grew up one way. I grew up mostly monolingual for most of my upbringing. And so my worldview is limited. So if I can be really intentional with listening and learning, especially to folks who don't look like me, I can be a better educator. I can be a better, more empathetic leader, connector, and advocate for those that I serve. So number one is listen to learn.
Listen, love it.
Number two, I'm going to say this. When we're talking about lucha, right? This fight that we are always on, we have to take care of ourselves. There are going to be days where we go home and we slam the door and we're like, oh my goodness, it's 2021 and I'm still having this conversation about this with this person, and it's frustrating, and it takes a lot out of you, like mentally and physically and spiritually, and it's hard because especially if you've been working in one system for a long time, you feel like, I'm not making any change, I'm not, there's nothing happening, there's no growth.
So true.
So we have to take care of ourselves. We have to pause, we have to rest, we have to lean on our allies, our colleagues, to keep us going in the fight, because it is a fight. It is a fight. And there are hard days.
That's true.
So rest and take care of you. And then number three, the final one, is be bold, be brave, because you are a change agent. You are a change agent. No matter how many years you've been doing this, no matter how many years you've been in your system, you are a change agent. Maybe you're not a decision maker, right? But you are a change agent. You do have spheres of influence. So that moment where you can flip a mindset, you can change the language, change the conversation, those are moments that are going to flip lenses and change systems for kids. So that's it. Those are my three.
Here, I'm going to do it for you, Carly. That was so cool. Listen.
Self-care.
Take care of ourselves and be bold. I like that last one. Be bold.
Yeah, I wrote it down. I wrote them down too.
Those are great. Thank you so much, Carly, for joining us today. We are so happy that you joined us.
I actually have one more last question for her. It just
go ahead.
I know she and I know we're a little bit over our 30 minutes, but I know for those that don't know Carly, she was a multilingual instructional coach, and now she's also coming out with a book. So can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So I am so excited to bring this book to the world. I have a contract with EduMatch Publishing, so it's editing phase is done. So now it's going to layout and all that exciting stuff. But this book is kind of like it's the multifaceted lenses of being a multilingual educator. So in the book, I talk about, the teacher self-care, the instruction in EL, bilingual dual language programming, the family connection. There's a whole chapter on that. Being a community connector, SEL for multilingual learners. So it covers a whole lot of different things. But I love reading research books. But this book here is not a research book. I tell a lot of stories, a lot of personal stories, a lot of things that I hope can empower educators who serve multilingual learners and families, and help them own their change agent status and empower all of those that they serve and flip the lenses in their system. So I'm so excited. I'm hoping it comes out the end of summer, maybe early fall. So we will see. So the tentative title is Moving Beyond for Multilingual Learners.
All right, perfect. No, we're very excited. So thank you so much for putting all those experiences in a book for all of us. So thank you. So we'll be watching when the book is out, and we will announce it to the entire world too.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. And thank you for doing this work. Again, dual language teachers and leaders are hungry for this. So thank you both for your work in this field.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carly. Thank you. Thank you. Everyone, join us next week. We'll be here talking curriculum and instruction and navigating this crazy journey of live streaming and being unscripted. So we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everyone.
I hope everybody enjoy it. Bye-bye.